Now, along the same lines of stop perpetuating your cycle, I kind of got on a internet tangent this morning about paradigm shifts. And I think what you have to realize is that your cycle is your paradigm, and you have to break free from that to move towards whatever you want. And so I watched a Bob Proctor video this morning, and I miss him, by the way. 26-minute video. I did put it on double speed so I could get through it pretty quick. And he shows his acorn, which is like this giant acorn. And I think you talked about this a few weeks back, but inside that acorn is a concise plan for everything that acorn is going to grow into. It's going to turn from that little seed into the tree that it's programmed to. And in the same way, you're an acorn programmed from birth with this map that is going to lead you from point A to point B. And that map is made up of everything that your parents told you, everything that you've learned, and everything that's programmed into you subconsciously. And if you don't do anything to change that programming, then you can only be so much. So you have to realize what's in your code, and you have to recode it. And that's, I think, what makes humans, our life so interesting, is that at any point we can decide what kind of tree we're going to turn into. I think it's something everyone needs to do, is really address what their paradigm is.
Yeah. It's it's the just everything. The longer you study, the longer you listen, the more of this information that you consume. One, the more you know, feels like the less you know, always, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the more you get into a subject, the less you seem to know about it, because it becomes a bigger picture whenever you start to study it.
Yeah.
And so it's just, anybody out there that is struggling or feeling like that they're not getting where they want to go, you need to let go of that feeling, because it's figuring out that your feelings are actually a manifestation as well is just mind blowing. Because it's your programming. The way that you feel about things is part of that programming. When you think about programming, or when I first thought about programming, I thought about, oh, well, my interactions with other people, or what I like or what I want to do, or the way that I perceive doing something, or my freedom with money, or my not free, holding back money, or whatever it is, but it's like the feeling is really the most important part of all of that. Because if you get to your desire, and your desire is only based on money, and maybe it could be fame too, maybe it's money and fame, or just money, or a new house, or whatever, but you're going to feel the exact same way at the new house, with the money, wherever, unless you're able to manifest a new feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I don't know. It's huge to me. It's monumental. And affirmations is what you need to be focused on to change these. Listen to them before you go to bed. Listen to them throughout the day, because your subconscious mind is still running programs. You've tweaked the program when you've started. We got to change the entire program. This is going to be a lifelong thing. You're going to be learning. You're going to be doing. You're going to hear things that you couldn't hear before, even though you've already heard it.
And here's the thing: do the affirmations in the morning and at night. The book I read, Becoming Supernatural, talks about melatonin levels and how that makes your brain go into a suggestive state. And those melatonin levels are higher at night and in the morning when you first wake up. So that's when you want to hit your subconscious with stuff that you want it to believe going forward. And I like how you said affirmations, because I did an even deeper internet dive on plants and how plants respond to positive and negative talk. And so they took this plant. I want to get the name right. It's an epipremnus. Okay, and this is a plant that you can plant anywhere: direct sunlight, indirect sunlight, around other plants, not in other plants. You don't have to water it very much, and it's just a strong, sturdy plant. But wouldn't you know, they put one plant in a room, and all they did was tell it how much they loved it, and how beautiful it was, and how big it was going to grow. And they took this other plant, they put it in another room, and all they did was tell it how ugly it was, and how terrible it was, and they bullied it, and it was never going to amount to anything. And guess which plant grew taller?
I love.
The one that was loved. So, I mean, there's...
So,
Yes.
but
No, there's no buts, but go ahead.
it had nothing to do with the plant and only to do with the feelings of the person about the plant.
Yes, there's an energy transfer. So in the same way there's an energy transfer to this plant, when you started your life as an acorn, there was an energy transfer to you too, not only in what you were told, but just the energy of your environment. And that shaped who you are today. It's going to shape who you are tomorrow unless you do something about it. So how do you change your paradigm? I stole these directly from Bob, so I'm not going to take credit for these, but they're in my words. So, there's got to be something original in here somewhere. Step one.
Bob took them from somebody else, I hate to tell
did.
you.
And everyone got it from God. So thanks, God. First thing you want to do, picture the perfect version of you, whatever that looks like. Okay? If you had everything you could possibly ever want, if you were as happy as you were, what does that life look like? And from this point, that is the person that you are going forward. And you need to spend some time figuring out all the characteristics of this new person. That's step 2. What do they wear? Who do they hang out with? What do they watch or listen to? What kind of job do they have? How do they treat other people? How do they talk to the people that they love? And once you have all of that fleshed out in as much detail as possible, from this point on, this is 3, from this point on, you act like this person with every action moving forward. And you cement that into your life. And I really like this because I've read some other books where, a lot of people go about changing their habits the wrong way, where they start with who they are, and then they try and change their habits from the inside out to get where they want to go, instead of figuring out who they want to be and reverse engineering it backwards, which is what every company in the world does when they want to steal an idea from somewhere else. They take the product, they tear it apart, they find out what makes this product better than what they're doing in-house, and then they add that to what they're doing, and boom, they have a better product. So in that same way, that's how you can change your paradigm and shift from where you are now to where you want to go. No comment? Sometimes I think, I don't know how we change this, but sometimes I feel like there's like this I go, you go sort of process on this podcast.
Oh yeah,
and I don't know if that's natural.
I was waiting for you to ask the question, but my question, but
I'm coming to the limiting belief question here in a second.
So the whole paradigm shift is it can be as fast a process as you want it to be, but I would say it's definitely, I wouldn't say that you can do it overnight as easy as you might think you could, because of just the work that goes into removing the programming like we were talking about. And but I think is where everyone gets hung up the most is all the steps they put into get to that different spot.
Mm-hmm.
And people will create themselves into a box that they can't even get out of because of how much thought they put into it. They just put hours and hours of thought into it. And really, it's not about what your thoughts are on it as much as just do it and know that you're protected, you're divinely inspired, you're able to do whatever it is that you put your mind to if you're willing to accept that. And just the action, any action you take is going to flourish. Everything you touch will turn to gold if you can, if you can believe that.
There's no if. It's all turned into gold. If you're listening to this right now, everything you touch turns to gold. I'm going to ask you one
Boom.
question. We got 2 minutes.
Okay.
What's a what's a limiting belief that you have, Rusty, that you need to let go of?
My limiting belief that I need to let go of is struggle itself.
Okay.
And is what I mean by that is when I get into the feeling of doing something, I may come up with a struggling belief around doing it. Maybe this isn't going to work because of that. Overthinking, analyzing, and creating a struggle of the thing that I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
So no matter what it is that I'm manifesting, I try to connect dots on how to get there instead of just taking the action that I know that I can do right now and letting the wind take me the rest of the way type situation.
Yeah.
Um,
How do you get past that then? Because I mean, you know how everything works. How do you
yeah.
how do you how do you make yourself see that there's no need to struggle?
Well, so the newest thing for me is changing my thoughts around happiness, completeness, fullness, all of the things that you're trying to get to with your manifestation. You're thinking, I'm going to be complete, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be fulfilled when I get this. And in reality, you need to be all of those things to receive it.